guests. Tell me about it.
You don't go to 1, 2, 3 anymore? When I go there, it doesn't, gives me something else.
But I'm not buying them much either, because I'm all the time.
Ready? Meeting is officially called to order. Meeting number 184 of TMG, the Mac Group. Good morning. Good morning. Careful. You could be up here running the meeting room. Let's try it again. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Okay. You had a tough week, I can tell, George. You're just not into it.
I've been trying to correct all the wind damage from the, a couple months ago.
Ah, okay. You're not the only one out there trying to do that. This is our meeting agenda. I'm just going to run through it very quickly. The first thing we do is the welcome. The welcome is where we say hello to any guests or visitors that we have or brand new members. And what I would ask them to do, we're going to do that one first, and that is to have them stand up, just introduce themselves to the group, tell us a little bit about them, what kind of Mac they have or they want to have, and what kind of stuff they use it for, and what kind of stuff they want to use it for. Because you do know that we're a school. We do sneak a little bit of education. And I've only got one name today, and that's Bob Billett. Bob, could you stand up for just a minute?
Yeah.
Bob Billett, just switching over from PC to a Mac, and I got a MacBook. And what am I going to use it for? Well, I've got 2 granddaughters, and a daughter and son-in-law that live in Durango, Colorado. And we can talk when they're and watch, see one another, and they talked me into buying a Mac. Wasn't a Mac user. But anyhow, just
What kind of stuff are you using your PC for?
just emails, look
Okay.
things up, address book. I had to type a letter or something. I'm retired
Okay.
from Delphi.
So basically, I'm hearing email, a little bit of word processing, web surfing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. I'm going to share something with you. That new MacBook, black MacBook you've got, has a camera built into it. Has anyone told you about the bathrobe rule? Before you turn on your laptop, okay, always make sure that
Imagine how I communicate with my daughter in the last one.
So everybody say welcome to Bob. Okay, next thing on our agenda is we roll through the agenda, which was what I was already doing. And the rest of our agenda is, the next thing we do after we roll through the agenda is we do news items, which is club news, local news, national news. Just a reminder, no politics, no religion, no parliamentary motions. We're talking about computers here, okay? After that, then we do the thing with, some people have brought freebies in, okay? And freebies, this is, you have older equipment that you can't sell or you don't want to sell, software, whatever. If you want to bring it in and just as a freebie, put it on the table, let other people have access to it, that's what we're here for. And then the other things are items that you're bringing in that you want to sell or items that you're looking for and somebody may have it. After we do that, then we do what's called the help desk. That's where if you've been having a problem during the month since the last meeting or over the summer, you just sort of share it with the group. The paradigm we're using here, if you get enough people in the room, chances are somebody's going to know and answer your problem. Or they'll be really good at convincing you that they have an answer to that problem. After we do help desk, then we do the raffle. Mark Georges, who's also videotaping the meeting, has been doing an excellent job over the last 3 years, if I remember correctly, of procuring software and other training materials from companies that are out there. And the raffle is only for members. So I do remind you about that. Guests do not get to participate in the raffle. After that, we take a short meeting break, what I call a biological break. It'll run between 10 and 15 minutes, depending on how much I've talked or others have talked. After that meeting break, normally we will then separate into two groups. We'll have a main presentation over here, and then towards the back of the room behind a little partition, we have what's called a novice group. Though I've noticed that sometimes people who are not novices are in that group, but it's basically a open forum workshop using Las Vegas rules. Okay, whatever happens in the workshop stays in the workshop, and I would remind you, there are no dumb questions at the MAC group date meeting. After we do our main presentation in the novice group, and that runs about 45 minutes to 30 minutes, then we have the welcome adjournment, where we re-enter the real world with all its problems and woes, and we wait for our next MAC meeting. Anybody have a problem with the agenda today? No? Then let's get started. Mr. Kirtner, do we have any club news?
Not really. They're big notified as far as news goes.
Do you have no? Mr. George, do you have any club news?
No, and not any more than what you're probably going to announce.
Okay, then I'm going to just minimize the agenda for a minute and just go through a few little things. Bear with me a second. I've been up since about 3 this morning for reasons I really don't want to go into. Anyway, this is Art Aronson. He was the instigator of the MAC group. He's also been our treasurer for the last 8 or 9 years. Art passed October 14th. He died October 14th from lung cancer. Very emotional episode for me. In any case, we have a replacement treasurer, and I'd like to introduce you to her, and that's Kathy Toller. Kathy, would you just stand up for a minute? The important thing to understand about this is that Kathy isn't just going to be treasurer. She also is a member of the TMG Council. And the TMG Council guides the group. We're the ones that do the vision, figure out what we should be doing, what do the members need, how are we going to get them there. And we do that with unanimous decisions. Very interesting process. Very interesting process. Okay, so anyway, now, I'm getting tired of putting pictures up of members who have died. Okay, I've done this for the last 4 months, Mr. Kruger, or 3 months? See, Carl Rader,
Carl.
Art Aronson,
It was...
Frank Lewis.
Frank was first.
Okay, so the last 3, nobody's allowed to die this month. Okay, I want to see, nobody's allowed to die this
Cut
month.
off is 3.
Okay?
For this year.
I like positive thoughts for this year. Okay? They come and get you. Come on. You know, get with the program. Positive attitude. You're a Mac user.
He's a happy Mac user.
Okay, very good. So anyway, remember, nobody dies this year. Okay, with that said, let me bring my agenda back up. Let's see, other club news. I managed to update the club website. I did not handle the shift from .Mac to mobile need well. And I updated it, I thought this morning, and then I realized that I had 2003's website up there. So I still don't know what I did. So I revved it back to the one that we had going, the web pages that we had as of this summer. And before I go to sleep tonight, I will have it properly updated. We have some changes in programs today. The originally scheduled speaker, Ty Greenlees from the Dayton Daily News, a photographer, had family obligations, so he had to cancel on me. So you're going to get one of my 3 o'clock in the morning, let's put the PowerPoint presentations together. And that's going to be on social networking, Web 2.0 stuff. I made arrangements, since normally I do the novice group after the break, I made arrangements with Don Balda from the Dayton Daily News to handle the novice group as he did last month. Unfortunately, Don had a family emergency and he's in Columbus today. So I don't have anyone to moderate the novice group today, and the novice group projector was not working as of this morning. So we have two choices. If I have somebody who's willing to step forward today to moderate the novice group, we can still run it without a projector after the break. Or we can go with choice 2, where we'll just stay together in one group and do the main presentation. What are your thoughts?
I was undecided on which group to attend today anyway, so I'm happy to stay here.
Okay, so we got one. We're just going to do one group, the main presentation.
One group, and then we have questions, there might be 5
Oh,
10 minutes
always,
to-
always. Okay, everybody's comfortable with that? I'm seeing smiles from the back. Okay, very good. I need your help. Mark Georges has a very important thing this afternoon. He's, a football addict. So he wants me to keep the meeting running on.
Where's help?
Go blue.
So he wants me to keep the meeting running on time. So if you see me talking a little bit too much, just do the, come on, Bill, wind it up.
Well, we just need people to help take chairs and tables down too, because I normally stay around helping, and now I'm going to be.
That's okay, your excuse, it's on the table. Let's see, other club news. Mr. Kurtner has been starting to redo our marketing materials. He'll be the point person for corrections, and we're hoping to have those pretty much, we're no longer into perfection in this group. We're just going to have some good stuff to reproduce and get out by the end of the week. You think we can get it done, Tom?
Sure. I foresee no problem.
Okay. Another item that I want to share with you, and that is, as of October 31st, I'm no longer with the Dayton Daily News. So if you need to contact me, you'll be using the, let me bring that up here. Da, da, da. Let's see, open recent. If you need to contact me, either use the tmgweb@mac.com, that's the official club email, or use realman@aol.com for me. Or, you need to select that, Apple A, Apple Shift, minus, font, show fonts. Make it down to 48. Okay, or the other one that we use for the club, tmgdayton@aol.com. Okay, remember, we don't just do stuff in the meetings. I'm always, email us, and we'll respond as quickly as we can. Let's switch back window to agenda. I'm trying to think, anything else you can think of, folks, that we forgot about club business? Oh, yes, one more thing. Kathy Toller's employer, which is, Kathy, what's the name of the company?
International Laminating Corp.
International Laminating Corp. has offered to produce posters for us, marketing type material posters, at little or no cost to us, like those new chairs, those electric chairs on TV that you see. But I need, and I know this is sort of a stretch, I need some graphic design people to maybe help me out, because I have no graphic design sense whatsoever. So what I would ask is that those who are interested in helping us knock out some very simple posters that we'll put up in some libraries and in MacTown and Mac Depot, the local Mac stores, to see me at the break. Okay. Otherwise, do we still have Guido on contract, Mr. Kurtner?
Which wheel, which one?
The arm breaker or the.
Guido or Vinny?
The enforcer.
Oh,
Is that Vinny or Guido?
Guido.
Guido. Okay. And I think that's it for club news. Does anybody have any items that they want to share with the membership from local or national news, computer related?
How about,
Yes, sir.
isn't there a new ASC at
Oh.
Best Buy? Is anybody else?
This is why there's
Ray,
more
he-
than one of us. 'Cause the hive mind is much better than the individual. Best Buy, which is now marketing Apple products rather aggressively, has a new fella there, Nick Donofrio. Did I mungle his name?
No, that's right.
Yeah, Nick Donofrio. We've been in contact with him. I'm going to try and get him out here for a meeting so everybody can meet him. And it's always good to see that Apple is, still flogging the product out there, which is good.
Which Best Buy is he at?
He's at the Best Buy near the Dayton Mall. To the best of my knowledge, they don't have anybody up at the one on Colonel Glen. Okay? And I think we got it all covered that time.
Is he an Apple employee?
He is an Apple employee who's stationed at that store. And then just something I was going to share, when I was over at Mactown, which is the Mac store, not an Apple store, but a Macintosh store, just south of the Dayton Mall on is that Kingsbridge?
Kingsbridge.
Yeah.
Kingsbridge Drive.
Marion.
Yeah. They have a clearance table now, which I thought was sort of interesting. As you come in the door, you make a right turn, and up near the front of the window, they've got a little area with iPod accessories and that, and they're marked, some of them 20%, 30% off. Okay, they didn't have signage on it yet, but Jason said that Jason's the store owner. They were going to keep that as a regular feature of the store. And let's see, anything else anybody has? Mr. Ward, yeah, go ahead, Rich.
Have we talked about the new MacBooks?
We haven't talked about any of that stuff. I'm hoping to have Jason in here next month so that he can talk about all that in detail.
I'm just curious how people feel about the lack of FireWire.
Yeah.
Did you know
That's
that
why
these, the
that's
brand new MacBooks do not have FireWire ports on them?
What, they got a
Cheap
USB
model.
too?
They have USB 2s, and they made a modification to the Apple migration tool, so now you can migrate data from one computer to another over a network,
But you don't have target mode anymore.
but you don't have target mode anymore.
Now the Pro model's got the FireWire 800.
That is
Yes.
correct. Pro models still have FireWire 400 and 800 ports. Okay, so something to keep in mind. In some ways, one might agree with the proposition that the older MacBooks, especially the ones that are discounted at Amazon.com right now, might be a better buy for your money than the newer MacBooks.
Now they're still retaining the white one, right?
Right, that's
Yes.
the one that came down to $9.99.
Right.
Okay.
And so, yes, in the lack of in my mind, the lack of a FireWire port is a step backwards.
Yeah.
What they should have done is move that up to an 800 port.
Yeah.
Because, with USB, people were commenting, oh, you probably still want a serial port, a parallel port, stuff like that. But those could be recreated. Yeah.
And for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, when they talk about a port, this is not a technical explanation. It's where you plug stuff in on the side of the computer. And there's different types of plugs that go in, and different ways they move the data. So you've got the things which are called USB, and they're a rectangular shape. And you've got the FireWire 400, where it's sort of a D shape. And then you've got FireWire 800, where it's a square shape. And it's just a way of connecting an external hard drive or camera or other device, scanner, printer, to the computer.
I guess it's my understanding that I guess I don't understand the current generation of USB cameras, but my impression is that they're not as good as a FireWire
If you're
camera.
doing video,
There's a
you
lot-
still want to be doing
Digital
FireWire.
video,
Yeah.
but in my mind, I shouldn't have to buy a MacBook Pro to have that capability.
I hear what you're saying. You were going to say,
The question would be then, if it doesn't have FireWire, how are you getting your digital video?
It's
USB.
USB 2.
Okay, but the camera, a lot of the cameras.
lot of the
Oh, but
cameras
according
don't-
to Steve Jobs, that's so last year.
Some
mean,
of
they
us
basically
who are buying
orphaned
new
them.
cameras, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or you're running it through a conversion unit where it goes in as USB 2, comes out as FireWire.
I thought the
There's no such
iMovie
thing,
thing
like-
only worked with a FireWire input from your camcorder.
No, it'll work with USB 2. iMovie 8 will.
Oh, iMovie 8.
Yes.
You've got the 8. If you don't have the 8, it won't work, right?
So
I don't
any-
think so.
Yes, Ron.
Just from my perspective, I'm looking for affirmation this is correct, but FireWire, when it first came out, it was before there was a fast USB, and it was a speedier connection, so a lot of the cameras went to that type of thing. And I think the cameras still have the capability. I've got a video camera that uses FireWire, they call it something else.
Son calls it island.
Or IEEE.
It's
Yeah.
FireWire.
1380.
But the USB 2 is now faster than FireWire, so isn't it?
No, it's not.
It's not real.
It has overhead with it.
Let's talk real world, right? There is a organization called the IEEE. I think we have a couple members of the IEEE. And the IEEE is also a standards organization. So FireWire, that method of connecting two electronic devices, the protocols and the speeds are IEEE protocols. So it's IEEE 1394 protocol. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And it comes in two flavors right now that are approved, and a third that's in the process of approval. 400 megabit and 800 megabit. Okay. Now we go over to Universal Serial Bus, which is USB. USB, I laugh whenever I see a package with a USB cable where it says USB compliant. There is no standard for USB.
I like when it says for Windows compatible.
Yeah. There is no standard for it. I could go in my garage and cobble together, out of bits and pieces, a USB cable, put it in a package and put USB compliant, and nobody could take me to court because there's no standard to be compliant to. Okay. So there's no standard for the cabling. There's no standard for the protocol. But manufacturers don't like to have to pay extra royalties for a standard, so they've been using this product, USB. It has become the industry standard. Okay. First thing they discovered was that USB 1, the original USB was way too slow, and then you had USB 1, and then USB 1.1, and USB 2, and it's fiddling with the electronics on the circuit board that's connected to that port to allow it to pass data through at a faster and faster rate. Okay? So, on the basis of what they say it is, USB 2, keeping in mind there is no standard that you can hold the manufacturer to other than what they think is USB 2. In real world, USB 2, moving data, is still slower than FireWire 400. Excuse me, I misspoke. USB 1.1 is still slower than FireWire 400. USB 2 is comparable to FireWire 400. Okay? FireWire 800 still, for continuous moving of data, is still a faster method of doing it than USB 2. There are add-ons to USB 2 coming down the thing, and what's called USB 3. They'll then have it up in the FireWire 800 range, but by that point we'll have another thing called eSATA or eSATA.
We already do.
Yeah, but you don't have standards approved for it. Okay. I'm one of these people, I want to see an international organization say this is the standard for it, and then the manufacturers have to match that standard.
There's also a new FireWire coming that will run over the coax in your house.
Yes. So there's new FireWire protocols also. Okay, now that I've thoroughly confused you, okay, here's the rule of thumb. If you've got FireWire and you can use FireWire, that's the preferred solution. If you don't have FireWire, USB 2 is where you want to be. Okay? I think I actually nailed that one. Okay, anybody else? Okay. One other item I wanted to give, and that was, there have been some modifications, security updates for third-party open source browsers lately. Opera, which is the browser out of Sweden, if I remember correctly, it's out of Scandinavia. They just came out with a new security update. Firefox has just come out with new security updates. Camino. There's another one. OmniWeb. They've all had security updates. If you have an older version, you want to select the little item to update to the latest version for your operating system. Okay, I know it gets complicated. If you got questions, just send me an email. Tell me what operating system you're using and what version of the browser. Everybody knows how to find their versions? Okay, I'm seeing heads doing this. Okay. Do we have any other national news? I'm trying to remember what they've done since the last time we met. I think we'll just table that one for when I get one of the Apple Store owners or the ASC from Best Buy in. Okay, I think we've pretty much done news to death. Everybody agree? Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Anybody have any freebies this month? Oh, no, go ahead.
Mine was help desk.
Huh?
Mine was help
He
desk.
jumped ahead.
Okay. I think we're going to be there in about 2 minutes. Okay, anybody have any freebies this month they're handing out to folks? Okay. No freebies. Anybody have anything they want to sell this month?
Yeah, I brought a couple of things with me, and got a used Radio Shark and a Turk antenna, powered antenna, amplified antenna. And before I sacrifice them to the gods of eBay, I thought I'd just offer it up for anybody that's interested. It allows you to time shift radio programs that are over the air. And the antenna is just basically if you're trying to get a weak station that, you know.
Okay.
And it's iTunes compatible.
Yes.
Okay. And you have a price
And
in your
the
head?
software that comes with the Radio Shark is in here as well.
Okay. So if you just stand up for just a second and let everybody see you. See them at the break. Okay? If you want a Radio Shark, you know, AM, FM radio, and you want to suck it into the Mac, and then you want to record it, save it for later use. Okay. Old-time radio folks that like to listen to the shows on WMUB and X-Star, whatever. Okay. All right, so see them at the break. Anybody else? Come on. You always have something for us. Nothing? Okay. Does anybody have anything they're looking for this month? Yes, sir. Okay, we talking floppy disk? We talking hard drive? Huh?
External
USB?
Yes, one company.
Okay, I'll have to, I think my basement's empty of floppy drives, USB floppy drives. I think George got my last 2. I never forget to. Anybody has a USB floppy drive that they're not using, they don't need anymore? See him at the break. Okay? Yes?
I'm looking for trying to use preferably
Stand up and speak louder.
for a friend. I'm looking for a used G4 machine. It has to be $100 or less. Either like a tower or a nut or a G4.
I assume you want one that actually works, not something that's, yeah.
Preferably it works. She has an almost 10-year-old G3 iMac and would like something that has speed.
Okay.
Her budget's $100.
Question to the group, I haven't been over at Mac Depot in quite a while. Does he still have consignment sales?
I was over there, yes, he does. He had some HP monochrome laser printers.
Okay.
And by the way, if somebody's got one of those and they want to sell me, it'd be fine. He already sold those.
Do you mind working with a legacy piece of equipment that may need some roller repair? because I got an HP laser jet, it's either a 4 or 5 that is excess. My son doesn't need it anymore.
Otherwise, it works.
Yeah, it's got a new cartridge in it.
Yeah, sure.
And you can find a competent engineer that understands electronics and mechanics.
That's an oxymoron.
Okay.
Or a competent engineer.
If you can't find a competent engineer, he'll be able to find me.
Oh, one other piece of information I just want to share with you. Okay, this is a bonding thing. November 6th, my oldest son successfully defended his master's thesis at the University of Cincinnati. I know there's at least one Bearcat in the audience. And this was in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, and he only has a couple comments that he's got to change. So that means he's going to do the walk in December. So that's a good thing. Title of thesis: using Markov chain Monte Carlo models to estimate the severity, duration, and cost of a salmonellosis outbreak of known size.
Bestseller.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, it's a little personal triumph in my life. I'm sharing with you, you know. You know, I do this for a reason. I don't want you to just be nameless people that sit in an audience and get lectured to. I want you to be real people and know that you got real lives and be proud of it and share it with each other. Because that means we get a little bit of bonding going on. Yes, sir.
My son was on the front page of the New York Times a couple Saturdays ago.
And explain why, because that
And
can
he
be a
was
bad
not in
thing.
jail.
Explain why.
October 10th was a pretty bad day for the market, and somebody interviewed him, and his interview was in the New York Times. Page 15 was the rest of the interview.
And then we had, one of our members was busy traveling to Bhutan and has returned. Successfully? You doing okay?
Yeah, great.
I want to hear about it.
Pictures.
Okay, so I think we're done with freebies, items for sale, items wanted. Yes, Ron?
Back to printers.
Yes, sir.
If anybody needs parts for old Apple laser writers, I still have a stock of those in the basement.
Okay.
And I still have the HP LaserJet 4s. I've got several of those that I cannibalize regularly.
Okay. So if you need parts, then you know where to go to get parts.
He said Apple.
And HP.
And HP. Do you still have the storage locker with the older?
No,
Oh, okay.
it's in my basement.
Are some of the older machines still there?
But I've still, my wife now is teaching at Sinclair, and she uses, our main printer is an HP LaserJet 4 MP Plus or something like that, I don't know what, but you know, it's a good printer, and I regularly pick those things up at Wright State Surplus Store for $5. I buy them for the toner cartridge.
Okay.
Because they're usually full.
The reason why this is important, and you ought to sort of keep this in your head. Inkjet printers, okay, we're going into really tough economic times. Inkjet printers are not cost-effective printing devices. Okay? You know, you're paying more for the ink than you would for champagne. And on top of that, a lot of times the ink cartridges, these are inkjet printer cartridges, will tell you they're empty when they still got 40% of the ink in them.
Why is that?
And one more thing, which I found out the hard way, and that is many of these new ink cartridges have a little chip on them and they automatically expire. You can't just stock up because it's going to go, oh, this chip has expired, so it's not going to work, even though the ink's still in the cartridge. So you got to be really careful about ink cartridges. Yes, Kathy?
Speaking of printers and everything, and I am having trouble with my inkjet. It just died. It says there's something stuck in it and there's been nothing. I don't use it enough. And I checked out the Xerox 6130 like you had suggested, and the price keeps getting up higher, even though it's sort of on sale now.
Yeah.
It's still more than what I think I want to spend. and I'm asking the club members here, what do they, I would like to get a colored laser printer. What does anyone suggest?
My wife had gotten it at Office Max and was one of those special 2-day deals online. So you sort of have to Google and find those when you get
Well, I
them.
went to Office Max.
Okay,
They didn't even have them at the one at the mall. They didn't even have Xerox store.
yeah, it was such a bargain that they're having trouble keeping them in stock. Okay. Anyway, but at the break, have you got recommendations about color printers for Kathy, or right now if you want to? Yes, Ed?
I have a 2610 Hewlett Packard all-in-one that may be available. It's right now has
That's an
a lot of
inkjet.
flashing lights and says reset power.
That's an inkjet though.
No,
It uses a toner cartridge?
it's an inkjet, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought I said that.
Okay.
Inkjet printer. It may or may not be available. They're sending me a new one on warranty.
You're using toner, which is ground up plastic.
Instead of toner, this uses those little chunks of solid ink that it has to melt.
Like a crayon?
Right.
Okay, it's wax thermal. It's a
Right.
wax thermal process. Okay.
Except it's called a laser printer.
It's-
Yeah, it's a laser
Yeah,
projector.
okay, it says on Yes, Rich?
I guess I got a couple things that are kind of on the boundary between items wanted in help desk.
We're in help desk. We're
Okay.
officially in help
I'm
desk.
curious, first off, if anyone has bought a Mac on eBay, because I've been toying with the idea of getting a used, therefore inexpensive Mac Mini to be like a home server. And so I could probably do just fine with an older G4 or a very, maybe the Core Solo.
How about a blue and white G3?
Huh?
The blue and white G3?
I like the Mini because it's small and quiet.
Okay,
And it'd be
so you
just nice in
prefer
my
a shuttle
office.
format?
Huh?
A shuttle format?
Yeah,
a small.
just tuck it away in my office.
Okay.
You know, I've got some old used PCs from home, but I mean, they've got Wii buttons in it.
Okay,
So I don't
so the
want-
question is, what sort of experience have people had in purchasing Macs on eBay?
Anybody done it?
Hey, Chef.
My son's bought two.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Have you tried or looked on Craigslist?
No, I have not been on Craigslist.
Go on Craigslist, Dayton, Columbus, or there's, try Cincinnati, Columbus, and Dayton. And
Okay.
I've seen Mac Minis on there quite often.
Yeah, okay.
And you have the advantage in that since it's sort of local,
Right.
Yeah,
you can look at the merchandise before they ship you
Yeah.
that large piece of wood instead of the computer.
Yeah, now there are some shifty folks on Craigslist, so yeah, you need to check it out
Yeah.
beforehand.
There's shifty folks everywhere.
You can filter eBay to just show items within a certain radius from your zip code.
Right.
Yeah. Another good suggestion.
okay.
And you want to add one?
One of the curiosity question. We had the power supply burn out this summer, and I forgot to replace it. When the cooling fan fires up, someone mentioned the wind tunnel. It is a lot louder now than it used to be. Is it standard to change the fan?
What I'd like you to do, oh, you're there, okay. The scheduling lady's there. Right now, I'm unemployed. So I've got a nice block of time. We were gonna try and get together between the last meeting and this meeting. Let me know what evening this week you want me to come over. No, I mean like now. What evening looks good this week?
Scheduler here will have to look at it.
Okay, all right, because I'd like to see what's going on. One of the things to keep in mind is that we're talking about a heavy iron, a G5 desktop unit. It has 3 different thermal zones in it, and it has little thermocouples in there, little temperature sensors in there that keep track of what the temperature is. Well, sometimes those temperature sensors get confused, and so the fans will rev at a higher speed than they need to.
Sounds like a wind tunnel.
I hear what you're saying. That's one of those things I actually have to be there and run a little bit of software to see what it
I was
thinks.
just wondering if somebody decided it's better to keep them a little cooler than they used to.
What happens is when the operating system cannot accurately detect the temperature, it errs on the side of keep the wind moving through.
Which is a good idea.
For those of you who have seen me run Applejack on a Mac, you know, come up in single user mode with Applejack, when you're at the command line interface, all of those temperature sensors, it isn't in communication with them. So your G5 will suddenly sound like a B-25 with a full load getting ready to take off. Yeah?
My husband keeps a little fan on his desktop and keeps it blowing on his G5, and the internal fan is regulated. He used to make fun of them, but it appears to work just to have a little desk fan and internet.
The other thing that'll happen is they'll get dusty inside and it'll think it's warmer than it actually is. That'll also happen. And the other thing is we like to tuck our computers in under the desk, back against the wall. If it doesn't have room to blow air out, it's going to be hotter inside than it needs to be. Phyllis is smiling at me. Did you like that gesture? Yeah. I've been going to Toastmasters. I decided after 18 years I need to work on my presentation skills. Yes, ma'am.
I'm having problems getting my internet. I get on my Mac and click on my Safari, and it says Safari can't find my server. And this has happened before, and I would just get off of my computer and try it in another week or two, and sometimes it would take 2 or 3 times, and I would get back in, and finally it would be up again.
Okay.
And I thought it had to do with maybe storms or anything, but this time it happened like a week before that big storm, and we didn't even so, I don't know.
Here's a couple dumb questions. All right. How do you connect to this is at home or at work?
Yes.
Okay, it's at home. How do you connect to the internet? Is it a dial-up through a modem, or do you have what's called broadband? You're either doing DSL through Ameritech, or you're doing Roadrunner through the cable company.
It's through a phone line, AT&T.
Okay.
It used to be dial-up, but I thought we upgraded it to the lowest, cheapest thing
Okay.
on the next one.
Now, do you have filters on your phones? Okay, because that tells me, as soon as I hear that they have filters on their phone and their answering machine, that tells me that they've got DSL.
What does the filter?
Is there a thing called a cable modem plugged into your phone jack somewhere?
I think so.
Okay, chances are, now, Mike, remember, results will vary. My crystal ball sometimes gets cloudy and dusty. But I'm guessing that you probably have the low-end DSL service through Ameritech, and the problem is probably the configuration of the cable modem or the router that's, do you have a router?
No.
Okay, so it's just one computer hooked up at a time?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Wired to a phone line.
And it's physically wired to that cable modem, or is it a wireless connection?
Physically wired.
Physically wired, okay. It's going to be PP over Ethernet setting. You'll probably have that setting where if the internet connection is not in use after so many minutes, it automatically disconnects. Are you shaking your head no, or are you just rubbing your eyes? Just, okay.
Carry on.
Okay.
She could be USB.
You're my truth.
She could be USB to the thing too.
That's true.
Well, this has happened to me with Safari, and I can put in a web address, and it'll say they can't find it, but then if I go over to Firefox, put it in, and it goes right through.
Okay. There are some browsers that are better connecting to the internet than others. The other confounding factor, is my disclaimer here, is you're sometimes using different versions of the Macintosh operating system, which means you've got a different version of Safari. You can't upgrade to the latest and greatest version of Safari because you need the latest and greatest operating system. And one of the things that we've learned is that over time, programmers improve their product, or they totally make it unusable. They either go one of two directions. So it could, let's do this, okay? Homework assignment. Write this down. Okay, first of all, you know where to send this email. It's either going to go to tmgdayton@aol.com or roman@aol.com. Do I have that up? Let me switch windows. Send it to one of these 3 email addresses, okay? And what I need to know is what version of the operating system you're using, what version of Safari you're using, and the model of Macintosh that you're using. Okay. Then what'll happen is we'll do a series of, I send you a screenshot and I tell you to go look, and then we compare back and forth. Okay. Okay, we play 20 questions.
Bill,
Thank you.
Okay. Looking at, okay.
Yeah, the email thing I sent to you, the device you showed last month, I was using a photo USB plus from Herrick, whatever, and I still was having some trouble. By the way, I apologize about last month. I hadn't used Audacity in a while. By the way, the version you have, I didn't realize they now have a beta version of that. They've come up with a whole new operating system. But I was using it again since then. Sometimes it works fine. I emailed the guys that make this, and they said, well, try turning off your antivirus. I'm still picking up static. I don't think that's a wireless
Now,
device.
okay. I don't know why this happens, but this is what I found out, okay? Using the Ion USB turntable, if I had it hooked up to my Mac Mini, my main machine where I've got emails going in and out all the time, I get static partway through recording the vinyl, okay?
Yeah.
When I hooked up the same turntable to a shaving mirror iMac, the half beach ball iMac, that had been freshly installed OS, completely defragmented, no static. Okay, so then I went back to my Mac Mini and I defragged it with Tech Tool Deluxe Pro, and I also think I got one of the other ones on it. So I basically completely defragged and optimized the hard drive. And then I didn't get the static. So I'm thinking it has something to do with the rate of data flow. If you've got a fragmented hard drive, it takes it longer to try and write it to the hard drive, and somehow it generates static.
And when the technical support said that, yeah, make sure like the antivirus is turned off and things like that, yeah, make sure things are shut down. It's a, it's a basic static noise type thing. And it doesn't always happen. One song, it'll do it on, the next time you do it, it doesn't do it on. So
That's how I knew that it wasn't just normal, turntable isn't grounded type of stuff. It had to be something that was going on inside the computer. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of my favorite.
Yes, Rich.
That is one of the complaints against USB, by the way, that it's not as stable in terms of its timing versus FireWire 2. But returning to your DSL problem, a couple points. That an application just calls the OS to get its communications, done. And the comment, for example, about trying something in Firefox or Safari and then going to another browser, when you ask, for a domain or something like that, if you're having problems communicating, I mean, this could be the communication gear not working right. Sometimes it takes a while for that answer to come back. And it could simply be you try in Safari and, your communications aren't good and the answer can't come back in time. You turn around and try in Firefox, and by then the answer has come back and you get it. So that can confound it too.
I'm just looking here at Internet Connect.
How would you get I have Safari because that's what came with the machine.
Yeah. It really shouldn't matter what browser you're using, because in that environment, a connection's a connection's a connection.
Yeah. Unless it's one of those early WebKit Safaris that weren't ready for release anyway.
How old is your Mac?
My machine is probably around 03 to 04.
Okay, made this century, and yeah, you should be good.
can't
So,
you download
do the
Firefox?
homework, sure, yes.
I've just recently downloaded Firefox this week.
Yes.
For the first time. I was having some problems with Safari as well. When was that? But sometimes it was because I thought my internet connection was still connected and it wasn't.
Yeah, but you're doing dial-up, which has
Yes.
another whole set of issues involved with it.
Okay, all right. Well,
And the other thing is if I remember correctly, the problem you ran into recently was you had downloaded the latest and greatest Firefox version 3. It doesn't work with the version of the operating system you
Yeah,
have.
which is 10.3.9.
Correct,
and
so
that's-
you want to stay with Firefox version 2 point something.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
downloaded this week, and it seems to work fine so far.
Okay.
And I was able to get on a website that didn't work properly before on
Mhm.
Safari, and it works okay now. But my question then
Yes.
is that in December, the message on the Firefox website was that this version, Firefox 2, will be supported only until December something.
Mhm.
Then what happens after that?
They don't make any new additions to it, you just continue using it the way it is. If it works now, it'll continue to work.
Oh, okay, so I don't have to upgrade to 10.4 in order to
Not
use it?
unless you have other stuff you're doing there where you want to. And you wouldn't upgrade to 10.4, you'd upgrade to the current operating system, which is 10.5, soon to be 10.6. And that brings in the whole thing about when does something become obsolete. It only becomes obsolete when you can't do what you want to do. Okay. I am not one of these people who says you have to use the latest and greatest.
Well, 10.3, she's not getting security updates and what's
She
that?
still gets security
Panther-
updates
Panther
in
still has
10.39,
security
but that's
updates?
going to end this year.
Okay.
Because it then drops off with Jaguar 10.2.
I'm sorry, isn't 10.3 Panther?
10.3 is Panther,
Okay.
10.2 is Jaguar.
Right.
10.4 is Tiger.
Right.
10.5 is, help me out here, Leopard. 10.6 is going to be kitty cat of some kind.
Snow leopard.
Snow leopard?
I've often, just, you know, one of these strange things I want to share with you, I've often wondered if we got somebody from the German Wehrmacht coming up with these names, because these were German armored fighting vehicles in World War II.
Leopard tank.
If they come up with the Elephant, okay, or Tiger 2,
It won't move.
I'm going to know. Yes.
A comment on the Firefox updates. What will not happen is you will not have browser vulnerabilities fixed. So that actually is somewhat of an issue.
Browser vulnerability?
Yeah, if the bad guys have figured out how to booby trap a web page or, you know, that kind of thing.
But Rich,
Then,
let me
yes.
add something, okay? I know this lady, and I know she's on dial-up.
Okay.
Okay, which means she doesn't have a continuous connection to the internet.
Mhm.
She's like that U-boat that, you know, up scope, and then you go down, and you got Metrox when you're up checking for those mosquitoes.
It's a matter of hitting,
However,
it's a
I do
matter of
know
hitting
how
a rigged site.
Go to Panera now and use Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I'm doing that.
Now, at some point, you and I need to have the conversation about when is the appropriate time to upgrade your operating
Yes,
system.
which I'm going to think seriously
And
about after the
When we
holidays.
have that conversation, then we also have to have the conversation about putting more RAM in the machine. Okay, so,
Or buy a new one.
yes, and I'm going to go to the lady next door. And I'm sorry, I don't.
Mom, what time is it? Carolyn.
This
Carolyn.
is down
I'm just
$1,000.
pretty new at all this, and so my question is just
No,
pretty
this is just a
simple
plain old,
about
this
the
is down
mouse.
the low end.
Okay.
My Mac,
MacBooks,
that is just
because-
a little bit over a year old.
They make
Okay.
better
And I was gone for a couple months, and my son had been using my computer, and he said that the
Is your son
rollers,
Jay?
no, Todd.
Todd.
And
Okay.
he's still looking for a job, so
Okay.
he's still looking.
Okay.
Yeah, there's $9.90.
Anyways, a little roller ball on the top of the mouse. The mouse is working, but the little roller ball on the top isn't.
Okay.
And I was getting ready to like pull it apart and see if I could figure out what was with it. And I called Mac and they said, don't do that.
When I put a mouse onto a Mac, I don't use the Mighty Mouse, which is what you were describing. I just get one of these $10, you know, 2-button and a scroll wheel.
Yeah, that's the scroll wheel. I don't
Yeah.
have that Mighty Mouse. It didn't, that isn't.
No, the little thing with the little eraser type thing at the top. You know, you've got, that you were talking about, the little button at the top? Yeah, that is the Mighty Mouse. that form factor is called the Mighty Mouse. It's supposed to allow you to do what this scroll wheel does. Office Depot, Office Max, help me out here, folks. Staples, Walmart,
Probably Kroger's.
Kroger's.
Newegg.
Hit one of the members up. Anybody have an extra mouse they can let the lady have, you know, at little or no cost to her? But what you'll find is you get not only the second button, which lets you do really nice things on a Mac, because Macs understand multi-button mice very nicely, but that scroll wheel is so much easier to use, and it's easier to clean.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Mark's on that one, it did the same thing, basically we were told after a while, I mean, he's in graphics, and so he uses it all the time. They basically wear out the little one especially. And you have to-
If you want to bring it to the next meeting, you know, bring it in. I know how to clean those things. You stand there with a dental pick. Okay. 10:57. All right, we got time for one more question, but we're only going to get a 5-minute break between, 10-minute break in between.
Are you still on help desk?
Yeah, still on help desk.
If anybody,
No, I'm kidding, go ahead.
I have some bugs in my Quicken that I elected to call Quicken about. Does anyone here understand Quicken really well? Woo.
I would like to know somebody like that too.
You do? No, so would I.
Okay. So what I'm
I
hearing
may
is,
spend $25 to
what I'm hearing is that you would like me to find someone who really understands Quicken that we can use as a resource.
I know, her name is Linda, LYNDA.com. She's a it's a training software site that
Okay.
you can
Okay.
watch.
The question that I need you folks to tell me is, do you want me to find a local resource or just web resources to go to?
I think we could call them $25.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. I know someone who knows this stuff. In fact, I sleep with her. It's my wife. She was writing articles for the Dayton PC Review about Quicken many years ago.
I'll email you my question.
But the thing is,
Could you forward it?
the thing is, I cannot make a commitment for her. Okay, so I'll see if I can find somebody who's
Very
willing to
simple
do it.
question, I'll email her.
Okay.
Through you.
Okay.
I had your address.
Okay.
Bill, since you're talking about Intuit, does anybody use TurboTax for their taxes? I read that there's a rumor, well, I don't know if it's a rumor or not, that the version of TurboTax that comes out this year, they're going to charge you if you try to print out a second, return. Does anybody know anything about that? In other words, if you e-file your main return, you have a daughter or a son or somebody else you want to do another return on, you're just going to print it out, but they're going to charge you $9.95.
How can you do that?
It will not allow you to print unless you go back and pay them.
Well,
So, anybody?
I don't know. We'll see.
I haven't bought it yet.
Okay.
She does yours?
Are you on that tax question?
We can do that, but then, okay, what I'm going to do is this, all right? I'm going to make a judgment. We got 38 seconds left before we go to break, so we can handle it in 38
Okay.
seconds.
We got
A
raffle.
quick question
No
about
pressure.
a download. All right.
Okay.
I have bought a new iBook. All right. I currently have, when we upgraded Life,
Mm-hmm.
they gave you the opportunity to keep iMovie HD with the new one. The HD is a
Mhm.
film thing,
Mhm.
and the new one is a star.
Mm-hmm.
All right. With my new iBook, it only has the star, the iMovie star.
Mm-hmm.
I still have my disc, and I'm wondering if I'm going to screw up my new iBook and by just trying to download the old iMovie so that I would have both of them on there like I do on my Intel.
Okay.
Because we prefer to use the old one for DVD burns and the new one if you're going to put it on,
Facebook.
I'm looking at my iMovie guy over there.
Yes, you can load it.
And it won't be a problem, so I
Nope.
simply take my disk and then individually just ask for the download
Yep.
of the old
It'll just
iMovie.
go ahead and put the old iMovie in another folder, and it'll say something about it being an old iMovie.
So no replacement or anything like
No.
that. Thank you. Did I
Okay.
make it?
Okay, this is what we're gonna do. 10-minute break.
No, right.
10-minute break.
Oh, we're not, hold on.
Where's that agenda? My apologies. Mr. Georges, do we have raffle items today?
A few, yes.
Asked about, like, just flash it up on the screen? We're trying to think about what we do and be more efficient. Because it's all about you. We just want to make sure you've got that which you need. Okay. Again, I apologize that we don't have a novice group today, but the last 2 months, you know, there's a saying, when you're the hammer, strike hard. When you're the anvil, bear the load. The last 2 months have been anvil time for me. It's just like, I keep looking up going like, what next?
Why are you unemployed, Bill?
Huh?
Why are you unemployed? I still get my newspapers.
I can't talk about specifics, but I can just give you a general, okay? The newspaper industry in general, they did not embrace the internet and the web quickly enough, right? And the business model they had, okay, which was based on print advertising, paying for the newspaper, has dwindled as people have moved their ads to the internet and as people no longer subscribe to the newspaper, circulation sales. The advertising on the internet is much, much less expensive than print advertising. Okay? So what's happening is your revenues are dropping here, you're trying to grow your revenues here, but you've got to sell so much more advertising to make up for it that you end up with a revenue shortfall. And what that means in terms of long-term results is that all of that news that you're enjoying on the web now is being generated by organizations whose business models are not going to be able to support that news generation in 2 to 3 years. Last week, the Christian Science Monitor announced that they were no longer going to have a print edition. They were going to be only internet.
And U.S. News.
This is going to be, this year, and I don't even think I'm out on the limb with this, but before the end of this year, you're going to see at least one major city that will not have a printed daily newspaper. Okay. So it's a failing business model. Cannibalizing current ad revenue to try and get advertising revenue on the internet. Bad coordination. Okay? You can still survive. I am convinced that even though it's a mature industry, you can still survive with printed newspaper products if you are very much in tune with what the readers want, and you can combine your printed product with your internet product. There's a small family-owned newspaper operation. They've got like 2 or 3 dailies out in Kansas. They have significantly increased their circulation every year since the family bought the papers. And what they do is, for every printed article, there's a code that you can punch in that has more information on that topic on their website. If you subscribe to the website, you also subscribe to the printed product. Okay, so they bundle the two together. They'll take things like local soccer scores, soccer leagues, what we call agate, and they'll have that on the web because you don't need to print it on the paper. All you need is just sort of that synopsis there, and then every subscriber, they have a cookie automatically put on their computer so that they have access to the entire internet site for the newspaper. Non-subscribers only get to see the front page. They don't get the rest of the stuff. They can get to the advertising, but not the news content. So there are things you can do that will allow you to make a good living off of printed newspaper product. That's not happening with many of the more mature organizations. So, yeah.
Speaking maybe on a term that I would contend, the big daily news has been out of touch with many of its readers. And I know a gentleman, I deal with him almost daily, he's going up in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Yeah.
He's out of touch with the organization.
And I hear what you're saying, but I'm operating under a non-disclosure agreement.
Don't
So I can't comment, you know.
Don't respond.
Yeah. I can talk about the newspaper business in general, okay? And one of the things that's very sad for somebody like me to see is when you have a newspaper operation like the Chicago Tribune, you know, the Wrigley family and that, where you have a real estate entrepreneur who has bought the newspaper because he was looking at the real estate properties that they held, okay? And of course, they highly leverage these deals. And of course, we know what's happened with the credit market since then. So you've got highly leveraged deals where, okay, it's like this. The real world analogy is the person who gets a subprime mortgage on that palatial house with all the furniture in it, they can't meet the payment, so they start selling the furniture out from inside. Eventually you run out of furniture to sell, and you're going to get foreclosed on. So, you know, but it's sad. I spent 14 years with that organization. They were good years. I can't tell you just what a technical challenge it was some days, but I enjoy challenges. I just sent an email off to the guy who hired me. He retired a couple years ago. And there wasn't a negative thing in it. All I could talk about was just what a ride I had had. And the sort of things, the challenges we had, and the challenges we had met, and the only death march I can think of. In IT projects, we refer to some IT projects as death marches, because nobody survives. The only IT death march that I knew of was the SAP implementation. And it never worked. Yeah.
SAP
is the largest software company in the world. It's out of Germany. If you think in a German framework, you will do just fine with an SAP implementation.
Well,
okay. As long as you don't want to customize your stuff. Any case, but that's neither here nor there.
Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, no, I didn't do anything wrong, nothing like that. I mean, you folks that know me, you know.
I thought you were on a sabbatical or something.
No. Okay. The topic today, and I'm probably going to blow through the PowerPoint real quick and just get to showing you Facebook. And,
While we're waiting for that to come up.
yes.
How about, I saw an advertisement that was like $129, similar to the Ion, except it automatically recorded to a CD, either a cassette or vinyl.
Did it have the Crosby name on it?
Probably did.
Okay.
I wonder if the quality of that is.
It's crap. Okay. You know, the only one I've seen that really is good, they only made 40 of them, and it actually uses a laser to read both sides of the vinyl disc at the same time, and it's wow. But they only made 40 of them.
Yeah.
And it was
I just wondered
some
if-
demented retired electrical engineer that. Okay. Way to get this started up.
Talking about.
You resemble that remark?
And men get retired.
I didn't quite hear that. Was that it? Okay, anyway, welcome. And I'm your presenter, William Herrick. That's my consulting company's email address, so I've reactivated my consulting company. And that phone number is my home telephone number. You're going to get an answering machine if you call, but that's okay. And then I'd ask that you turn off your pagers and your cell phones like I'm about to do, just so we don't get distracted. Okay, moving forward rather quickly.
The guy to the right of the blonde, turn off your cell phone. That's the only time I ever pressed phone.
Okay, social networking, it's all about connecting. By social networking, I'm not talking about social networks. This is, social network services is the actual term. If you go to Wikipedia, you'll see that they have different entries for social networks, which is really something that a sociologist would deal with, as opposed to social networking services, which is something that an information technology person would deal with. Another thing that they'll call social networking, I'm going to stand up and I'm not going to, I'm going to try and stay out of the camera range. It's also called Web 2, and it's really a whole bunch of different things. It's such a large topic, I'm only going to deal with a very small piece of it. But just to give you a little bit of an overview, you've got social bookmarking sites, and they would be sites like Delicious, Stumble Upon, and Dig, and that's called social bookmarking. You'll go to this site, and you've got all these people that have found things on the internet that they really like, and they vote yes up and down on them, and these things percolate up, and you can see what the most popular things were. It's interesting, as long as there isn't a political election in the process. If there's a political election process, no. The other group, social collaboration webware. We've done a presentation in the past about Google Docs, where you can create spreadsheets and presentations and Word documents, and they all reside on the Google website within your account, and you can then allow other people to have access to those documents, to modify them or to look at them. So it's collaboration software. In that category, Google Docs, 37 Signals, and Zoho, and the whole thing of wikis, which are modifiable. Wikipedia is an example of a wiki. It's a Hawaiian word, means quick. And we've done presentation on those, but we're not going to touch those today. We're going to focus just on this third one, social networking, and these are websites such as MySpace, Facebook, LinkedIn. Okay, characteristics of Web 2 internet sites. They are web-based, so you're accessing everything through an internet browser. There's no special client on your machine. So stuff like Second Life, virtual realities, I don't really consider that to be part of Web 2. There are people who do. And I'm not knowledgeable enough about Second Life to speak about it, but we got a couple people in the audience who can do that at another day. It's shareable. Okay, so there's resources on these things that are shareable. Think of YouTube with all these videos. You put it up on YouTube and all these other people can access it, share it, comment on it. It's collaborative. In many cases, the content can be modified by other people. It's participative, okay, so that you're doing stuff with this, you're participating. They're interactive, user-oriented. They're typically free websites supported by advertising. Okay, so there's a business model behind it. And that has implications, bad implications in some cases. And they're part of what they call Web 2 development. This is sort of this large mass of jelly, and you're trying to nail it to a tree. It's constantly morphing and changing. I've never really gotten a good feel for what is really meant by Web 2. And just as an aside, yeah, Tim?
Is it safe to say that another characteristic is that it's a major security issue?
Yeah, and I'll get to that.
Okay.
Okay. There's a local resource in the Miami Valley, a fellow by the name of Dave Israti. He's mainly known for being Mr. Ninja, showed up at some Dayton town hall meetings with his ninja mask. Okay. He runs an advertising agency, also a web hosting business. I've had dealings with David in the past. He also hosts about once every 2 to 3 months a seminar It's called Websiteology. I haven't attended it, but I've been emailing him via Facebook. And so he's got me on his little file to remind me the next time he's doing that presentation, and hopefully I'll be able to educate myself a little bit more and be able to share that with you later on. Okay. And this is just a collage. I put together what they look like. Zoho, Delicious, Flickr for photos, sharing photos. YouTube, Dig, 37 Signals, MySpace. If your favorite Web 2 site isn't up there, too bad. I didn't have enough room. Okay. Any questions so far?
Google Docs, is that just almost like a Word document, or is it?
Google Docs is a service that you can get from your iGoogle site. So it's your site, it's under your password control, where you can create, using their web tools, nothing on your local machine, Word documents, spreadsheets, and presentations.
So you can control who can access it because it's your website?
Yeah. When I was employed, what I would do is a fellow that's still employed at the paper, by the name of Don Baldwin, big, tall, burly guy that scares the hell out of me some days. Anyway, we'd work up punch lists. So I'd be at home and I just create a Word document, and then I would say, the person with this email address is able to access this Word document, and they can look at it and modify it. And so since we didn't have time to do meetings anymore, and we wanted to coordinate activities, he would just modify the punch list of what was more important for editorial. And I've got access to it, he's got access to it, we both modify it. Boom, we're communicating that way. Something that I've thought about doing with the TMG Council, so that we can be of better service. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. Okay, so what's our goal today? And I'm going to tap answer this real quick because I want to just get to a Facebook demo. What are social network services? Who uses them? Benefits, drawbacks, and dangers, and Facebook demo. So I'm probably going to cut it to the quick, and I'm probably going to talk about dangers in the demo more than anything else. Social network services. They're online communities of people who share common interests and activities. They're web-based, and they provide many different ways to interact, typically in IM, instant messaging, and an email component. Very rich in terms of being able to communicate with people. And whenever you hear that, sharing and communicating, okay, start, little danger signs should start going off. Because then you're talking about information flow. Who uses them? Typically, in the very beginning, it was only with education institution email addresses. And the first real use of these sites was for incoming freshmen. Okay, I don't know how many of you had a college experience, but when I started at Northwestern many years ago as an undergrad, they gave you this book, and it had, it was a directory, and it had people's names and their home address and what dorm they were in. Okay, so you could start keeping track of folks. Later on, after I had left, they started putting their pictures on the book, and they called it a Facebook. So that when you saw somebody's face, you could, oh yeah, there he is. Very similar to what the Beamer dealers do with their customers, where they've got a book with the customer and their photographs, so they can always read them by name when they come into the establishment. So in the beginning, it was just for the students. Social communities, okay, so that you could look it up. It would be like a web page. You'd go up, you put in somebody's name, it would come up with their picture and what their hometown was, etc. Then they started applying the concept of self-modifiable. You let the students put the information in because you don't have the staff to put it in. Okay. Well, now this is a really nice sort of tool. So then they started doing it for faculty and staff. And then, you got to keep those endowment funds full. They started doing it for the alumni. Now, most of those sites now are open to everyone. Everyone. So what are the benefits? Your profile and info and data are on the internet. That data is searchable. Okay. I'm not talking about you searching your profile data, but you put in a, well, for example, I opened a Facebook account, and I put into my profile information that I had attended Northwestern University between these years. And then the Facebook thing came up and said, these are people who attended Northwestern University between these years. And it was a fairly long list. And I'm being lazy, and there's a little search thing, so I put in a guy's name that I remember. And bingo, he's there. So then I click on his name, and it sends an invite to him, and he gets to say whether he knows me or not. Okay? So it's what's called friend lists. Searchable, discoverable, shareable, in that you can put other things up on your Facebook page. Photographs, you can post announcements. So for example, when my oldest son was getting ready to do his master thesis defense, I saw it, he's one of the people that I've got on my friends list, I saw it on my little update. And I went, oh, it would have been nice if he had called me and told me he was going to okay. So I sent him a message. I said, you know, can we bring popcorn? And he said, oh, Dad, don't embarrass me. High interaction capabilities. Unbelievable communication tools. Okay, you should start feeling nervous whenever I say stuff like that. Okay. Okay, drawbacks. Your profile information and data is on the internet. When I put up my, I got into Facebook and I started doing my profile, and I'm on more than one of these things now. First thing my wife said was, Bill, you really don't want to have that much information up. And I said, why? And she said, well, you're going to do a job search, aren't you? I go, yeah. She says, you're over 55, right? I go, yeah. She says, you really want to make it easy for a prospective employer to just automatically cross you off the list? I said, no. She says, you need to pare back your data. Okay. Now, another drawback, time sponge. These things can be really addictive. Really addictive. Okay. If you're focused on a job search and you find that you're spending 6 hours out of the day tweaking your Facebook site, you're not going to find work. Okay? And these things are very seductive. Very, you think the Xbox video games and that kind of stuff is seductive? This stuff, much more so. Much more so. So, I want to make sure that I'm emphasizing this very, very much so. Watch, you want to limit the time that you spend working on these sites. Okay? And the other one that just drives me crazy, no standard interfaces or controls. So if I go from one social networking service to another, there's no common interface, because they're still trying to figure this stuff out. And sometimes they'll switch it on you in the middle of a session. You'll go like, wait a minute, I had a button that I could do this last week and now it's gone. And for those of us of this generation, as opposed to the younger folks, there's no written documentation. You just sort of figure it out as you go. There'll maybe be frequently asked, what are called FAQs, frequently asked questions, but that's about it. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing as a revenue generating device is offering a training class on Facebook for folks, among other things. Okay, so no standard interface or controls. Dangers. Stalking, identity theft, security breaches, ambiguous divide between private and public. You have settings where you can say only these things are going to be searchable by the vast public, only these things can be seen by my friends, these things are kept only within family, etc. But the problem is, a lot of these websites have things happen, and settings somehow get lost. So the rule of thumb to use for any of these social networking sites, assume anything you put up there is going to be visible by anybody on the internet. There have been numerous events where people have lost their jobs because of posted photos or messages on the internet. And this morning, while I was putting this presentation together, there was a wonderful little thing that I saw up on Dig about this little young lady. She was a cheerleader for a professional football team. Someone spotted a photo of her. She was at a party. Someone had passed out drunk, and they were drawing things on their arms, etc. And she lost her job because, not that she had drawn that stuff on the person's arm, but she was in the picture with swastikas and various things that were drawn on that person's arm. There have been school teachers that have lost their positions because someone in the administration saw them standing there at a party with alcohol in their hands. Okay, these are photographs. Okay, you know, pictures taken at a party. It may not even be on your Facebook page, but on someone else's, and someone tags you, identifies you in the photograph. Okay? So, there are dangers that can happen. And I want to share one other, just real quick here. And this is a photo. Someone can manipulate the photo. Put it on the website. Okay, so here's a photo. Okay, this is pretty innocuous. This is the sort of stuff, you know, IT guys like to share.
Is that your basement?
No. My basement, if you saw the movie Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, you know that warehouse that just goes on and on? It's sort of like that, but nothing's in packing containers. Okay, so here's just a shot, and it's a computer room, and they twisted it sideways, and you're just seeing all this cabling, and you're thinking, well, you know, what's the harm in posting that? Except that if you blow this thing up a little bit, let's do a zoom in here. Okay, and now I got to do a little bit of manipulation over to the side. Now, this is a lower size version of the photo. I've got the high HDR at home. These are Post-it notes, and there's stuff written on those Post-it notes. Okay? And what's written on those Post-it notes, this is a server, a web serving facility, is the which customer that cable is, these are Ethernet cables plugged into computers, and it's identifying whose data is on which box and the admin passwords to get it. And over on this side, okay, I apologize, but I got to get over here. These are asset tags. Those asset tags have the asset numbers and the serial number associated with the device. Those of us who do remote administration, if standard passwords have not been changed, if I know the serial number of a device, I can access that device and control that device. Okay, if other things, if default settings haven't been changed. Okay, so in combination with Post-it notes and serial numbers, if I've got one where I got both, I know the serial number so I can physically, positively identify the device over the internet, and I know the admin password to get in. Okay. Now, security breach. If you notice, you've got your metal cage, you've got your security doors, but because somebody took a photo and posted it on a website, that place is not secure anymore. Okay. Sort of get a feel for the kind of world I used to live in? Whoa. Okay. Any questions at this point? Yes?
that really means that any of us could wind up on Facebook, whether we were enrolled or.
That's correct. And let me share another nightmare with you. I don't know how many times I've seen a photo where somebody's got some sort of cute keychain on their keys. Okay, excuse me, you know, I know how to do locksmithing. If I've got a photo and I can enhance it to look at the key, I can see what sort of masker it's using, and I can recreate that key. Hmm?
I think I read it in the paper.
Okay, anyway, so, I mean, just think about that, all right? Yes, Kathy?
Bill, I was doing some temp work over at UD, and the lady that I was replacing due to, health issues, before she left, she was training me. Her daughter came in, and she was there at the UD going to school. And she came in, and she said something about, something happened, somebody called her when she was at her dorm in the middle of the day, and she couldn't figure out how they knew she was even home. Well, the conversation got around to, it was an assignment from one of the professors to do a web page, and on that web page, it not only had her name, address, phone number, it had her school schedule, it had her picture, it had everything right up on it for anybody to see.
Yeah.
And that was an assignment.
Okay, so anyway, I want to fire up a web browser and go to my Facebook, because I just want to give you a taste of what's out there.
Bill,
Yeah.
you mentioned people with dirty pictures, but somebody's face can be put on a totally different body.
Oh, yeah, and I'm not even going to photoshopping and what can happen. Okay, I'm just going to give you an overview of the interface here. Dun, 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 dun. And I hope, let me just do this real quick. Wait a minute. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Bill was being stupid. Bill forgot to connect to the Good Shepherd wireless access point. Okay, now I'm firing up Firefox. Now that I have an internet connection, I'm going to Facebook. And if it doesn't take me there, I took screenshots this morning, because I'm a belt and suspender kind of person.
Have you ever used Flock or looked at it?
No, not really.
That's a Firefox derivative that's supposed to be a quote social browser. It has built-in things for accessing these social networks.
I'm just going to change the screen resolution here because I need a little bit larger landscape. So I'm just going to take it up to 1024 by 768. I understand, but you're just going to have to deal with it. Okay, so let's bring that up. And, okay, so we got the full screen. This is the login window for Facebook. It's free, but if you're going to join up, they want to know your sex, month, day, and year of birth. Okay. They want to know your full name, an email address, and the password that you want to use to access Facebook. Okay. So if you're one of these people that you're getting a little about letting people know how old you are, you might want to go to one of the other websites where they don't require your age. To log in, you put your email address up there that you use to register, and then you put the password that you set for it. So it's not the password for that email account, it's the password for Facebook that you've associated with that email account. So I'm going to log in with RillmanAOL.com, and then over here I'm putting my password in. And I'm going to say login.
Can you put any date up there if you want in terms of date?
Oh, sure. You can log.
There's no need to put in 3%.
Yeah.
I always use one day below my date. That way I know if somebody gets my information, that's where they go.
There are some sites that use as their security questions your date of birth.
Okay. Now, this is Facebook And you'll see that up here at the very top it says, "What is William doing?" That's a picture of me from a couple years ago when my beard was still full. William is celebrating Robert Herrick's successful master thesis. Well, I'm going to update that right now, and I'm going to say is doing a presentation on about Facebook. I'm just going to put in a public presentation. I'm going to post that. Okay, now what happens? Other people that are on my friends list are going to get updates about this stuff. And they're going to see, for example, here we have Jeanette Mullins is on her way to the Kroger Market and then to Elder Bierman's. She posted that about what she's doing. I've just posted this. William Herrick is doing a public presentation about Facebook. If you had an infinite amount of time, okay, and or you knew how to do social network analysis, the sort of stuff that a sociologist does, I could start to build a model of people's activities. When are they home? When are they not home? We've got Sherry Heinzerling is commenting on somebody's photo. All right, so these are people with Facebook sites that are on my friends list, and they're updating what they're doing. Now let me show you some of the other things that are available here. I'm going to click on Profile so that we see my profile.
Is that top stories thing kind of what Twitter is all about? It's just that?
Yeah. You do have some control if you've got people that are constantly typing in things and you really aren't interested in them. You can say, show me less about what they're doing. Right now, this is my profile page. So you'll see I've got my photograph up there. The interface on Facebook is as you bring your cursor on top of an item and you click the little pencil, that allows you to start editing things, changing them. In this case, my first profile picture was this. Okay, that's a passport.
So is that one hanging in the post office?
First couple times I saw that, I said, no, I need to change that. So I went to a slightly older photo where I'm in a suit and tie and I'm smiling. I'm a happy guy.
And some people don't put their photo in there.
That's correct. Some people don't put their photo up there. Some people do not. For example, over here, for information, I'm showing my relationship status, and I'm married, my current city, and my hometown. If I go onto the little editor thing, I can say, don't show my relationship status, don't show my current city, don't show my hometown. Okay, over here, I just clicked in the friends area. This is a list of 61 people who are current friends. And it's got a little update on them and what they're doing. If I click on them, this is somebody I know from work, an IT fella. Very nice individual, very bright individual. I can see what his education background is that he's chosen to share with us. I can look at what his employment history was that he chooses to share with us. And I have commented to him that he might want to have a different photograph. Okay, now.
You can call up mine if you want to, Bill. I think we're friends.
I understand, but we're, let me do photos though. One of the reasons why I started to do this was I had gone to Ireland for vacation. I had all these photos, and I wanted to share them with my mom and dad back in Chicago. And I didn't want to have to burn a CD and all that other good stuff. So these are all the photo albums of friends that are up there. And what I'm going to do is just go to My Photos. And I've only put up a small number of the photos from Ireland. It is a truly amazing country. Well, we'll just look at that one. I'm on a slow internet connection, so it's going to take a while for it to build all the photos. But basically, that's a lighthouse in Howth, Ireland. I've got this stuff tagged. So I've got it broken out day by day, where we were, what we were doing. I still have lots of photos to upload. Again, think of that whole thing about time sponge, okay? Not just looking at what people put up, but you start thinking about what you should put up. Okay. Going back a level, I have another photograph album that's up there, and it's called Hurricane Ike at O'Hare Field. Let me pick a good one here. Yeah, that's a good shot. Okay, you know when we had the winds?
That's Saturday.
This is where the rain was. This is tarmac at O'Hare Field, Chicago, Illinois. Notice how close the water is to that engine cowling? They were using snow plows to make a wake, just to push the water away enough that the airplanes could start to sort of move into the gate positions. That's 10 foot of water. I mean, I could walk underneath that cowling normally. Okay.
Now, that happened on that Saturday, didn't it?
That's correct.
He's moving under power through that water?
Yeah. He's moving under power, and that's why they had more than one plane where the wheel struts got.
Yeah. That airplane was probably water injected that day.
Yeah. Now, okay,
That's gotta be a weird feeling.
I want you to think about, okay, the power of this. Sharing a photo, posting a photo, very easy. Now, let me just walk very quickly through the rest of the interface, because I've got like 2 minutes. So, we've got that home base. We've got that home base, profile, where my profile information is, okay, and where I can modify it. Then we have friends. Well, part of the friends is a tool where you can invite friends to join Facebook. So if I click on that, if I know somebody's email address, I could send this invitation to them. It'll be sent through normal email to them, to their email address, and at that point they can then join Facebook. If they're already on Facebook, all they have to do is just say, yeah, I know this person, connect us. Let me go back just one level, because up here we can do searches. Find people you know on Facebook. Now, I've got educational information in there, so I can say Northwestern University between these years. Let me scroll down here. Search for people. Find classmates from Gordon Technical High School, Northwestern University, CUNY Graduate School, Sinclair Community College. So I put in some information that I know about them, and I know they were at Northwestern, and it'll look to see if they're out there on Facebook already. If it is, they'll show me a profile, and then I can click, well, I'll do this. We've got some people up here in this section where it's looking at my associative information, and it's automatically generating people that I might want to have something to do with or that I might know. So we'll click on this person's name. It's going to bring up some profile information where I can tell whether it is the person I think it is. A photograph, some information. And if I click this button, add as friend, it sends a message to him, do you want to be connected to this person, Bill Herrick? And they can say, yes, he's a friend, or no, he isn't a friend. Okay. Let's go back one more level. Inbox. Updates. If people have published updates, it'll be on that tab. Notifications will be on this tab. Notifications. These are changes of status. If somebody who's on my friend list changes profile information, they just switch from being married to unmarried, they decided they were going to join this group and drop out of that group, I'll get a notification that they've changed stuff. Or if people have started to add friends to their friends list, it'll show me that they were accepted. For example, here, Janet Mullins commented on your status. William Mears, who's a TMG member, I sent him an email, do you want to be a friend of mine on Facebook? He accepted, and then it says, He's new to Facebook. Do you know people that he would want to be connected to that you can suggest?
He's done, that's how I got him. I got him.
Okay, over at the Dayton Peace, yeah. And then sent messages, so you can keep track of email conversations. Again, I can't stress strongly enough, you want to treat anything you put up on one of these sites as if it's public information. If you have anything that's of a confidential nature, you do not use this kind of a flow to send that, to engage in that conversation. But then I say the same thing about email. There are no privacy, no privacy, legal privacy privileges attached to email. Let me just scroll up here for a second. This is my daughter, Lucille Herrick. I'm just going to click on her. It's going to bring up her thing. So she says, let's see. Lucy says, don't forget the dessert bonanza this Saturday. So she's got probably some sort of dinner over at her apartment, and she's got some friends that are coming over. And so she's just posting that real quick so they'll remember it. And let's see, she's been studying chemistry, she's been eating dinner and doing stats, her brain works, okay. Now let me show you one more. This is sort of neat. Let's say you've got some sort of meeting that you want to organize. And I'm just, on a slow internet connection here. I created an event this morning. November Mac Group Dayton meeting. And then when I created that event, it went up on my public calendar, and then it gave me a list of everybody that was on my Facebook friends list. And you can make subgroups of those. And so those who were TMG members, I invited to the meeting. So this could be a way that the club could very easily send out meeting notifications, have the sort of discourse back and forth when we do troubleshooting. Instead of, I send you the email, you send one back, I call you, you call back. And then have it in a public forum, remember, public forum, where other members can see and go, oh, do a search and go, oh, Epson printer, such and such, yeah, that's how we fix it. Yes, question?
So I know that you can become a fan or associate with a group.
Yes.
But the person that starts that, is there some definition between a standard?
It depends on which social networking service site you're on.
Yeah,
They
I'm
have
talking about on
different
Facebook.
rules. On Facebook, the person who creates the site, the group,
Yeah.
controls access to the group.
So you could do that for the
Yes,
TMG?
it means I would have supreme dictatorial command over who was on the Mac Dayton, Mac Group Dayton Facebook group. You would be under my
So you can set up 2 different accounts even though you're using the same name?
The groups are separate from the profiles. So you can set up multiple groups from one profile. Make it a marketing possibilities.
And you can choose groups, like I'm an OSU.
Correct.
Are there spammers on the system there somehow that they found?
Let me just do let me just put a wrap around this golden sandwich real quick, because I really ran over. I do apologize. No, he's got an OSU football game that he has to enjoy this afternoon. What I want to make sure you take away from this is these social networking websites all have a slightly different spin on who their target clientele are going to be. There's one called LinkedIn that is aimed more at business professionals and business relationships. The ability to communicate rises exponentially for things. The ease of communication. But the responsibility on what information you're providing also rises exponentially. I would suggest that you play with some of these websites. Go out, take a look, Facebook, MySpace, LinkedIn, take a look at what sort of capabilities they have. Especially for those who have been internet lock-ins, the whole idea of the loser geek sitting alone in front of his computer. Well, that loser geek may be connected to more people than I've ever known in my life. So something to think about. These are paradigm-changing things. Very, very disruptive technology. The kind of stuff that kills newspapers.
Yeah, Mary.
Thank you very much.